The story would begin in the battle against the legendary Saiyan Broly, because despite the fact that both Saiyans used all their power was not necessary. That's right, the power possessed by the Saiyan Broly was amazing. So much so that even though he did not possess the divine ki, he was able to defeat both Saiyans, for which both had resorted to fusion. The battle that both Saiyans mentioned was incredible, although Gogeta on this occasion had totally the advantage. The Saiyan Broly did not let to release his power, so at the passage of a few moments, Gogeta would access the Super Saiyan Blue, with which he had taken the battle much more seriously, in which, from a great attack, he was about to end Broly's life. However, with the help of the Dragon Balls, Broly was teleported to his planet. The fusion of the powerful Gogeta was about to end, observing his entire paranormal.
That was fun. I'm still the beast tamer no matter who it is.
Instantly, the fusion would end, in which both warriors had returned to normal. But Goku was a little thoughtful about everything that had happened, so which would decide to break his limits once again, to which the Prince of the Saiyans would not be let behind, since the instant Vegeta would communicate telepathically with Whis.
Whis, please trade me. I can't believe that a Saiyan who doesn't possess a divine energy like us was able to defeat us, and must have resorted to fusion.
There will always be warriors of that type. And won't Mr. Goku train with us in the same way?
I don't know where that insect's gone, but I'm sure he's gone to a place to perform a training in the same way to break his limits.
Oh, this will be very interesting. Okay, let's start with the God of Destruction candidate training. Vegeta was surprised by the proposal that Whis had offered him.
It means that when Lord Beerus dies, I'll be the new God of the Destruction of the entire Universe 7.
Exactly, Mr. Vegeta. Since otherwise it is not possible for me to grant the training to the God of Destruction.
Lord Beerus has thousands of years left to live. It's okay, Whis. I accept the position of God of Destruction when Lord Beerus departs from this world.
In that case, it'll be better to leave to the planet of Beerus to start with the new training. Both had headed towards the planet of the god Beerus, while for his part Goku had resorted to the Room of Time, beginning to monitor each of his transformations from the most basic to the most powerful, to have total control over his internal energy.
Broly's power's been amazing, but I can't stay at this level. I have to be able to break all my limiters like Saiyan.
Goku, with his great determination, would begin to focus much more on each of his workouts. However, as time passed, Goku had been able to access the Ultra Instinct on request. However, his combative power had not increased in a way that the Saiyan would like, since the Ultra Instinct was a state which made him completely intangible, but did not grant a growth of energy.
Hell, I've been able to master the Ultra Instinct, but I'm not able to reach a new level. If an extremely more powerful being appears, I'm sure he'd be able to defeat me, since his power would be more destructive.
But without even Goku noticing, a powerful entity was watching the exhausted training that the Saiyan was carrying out. But as we get a little closer, we're able to notice how this existence maintained an incredible size, while a fur covered his entire body. That's right, it was a beast. But not just any beast, this was the legendary Sacred Ozaru.
I finally found a worthy warrior who is capable of being my successor, who will keep all my power at its maximum splendor. I don't have time anymore, and apparently that Saiyan keeps a pure heart.
While Goku was training, a surprising pressure would become present at the Time Room, which had left him surprised. But despite being transformed into the Ultra Instinct, that pressure that had been able to completely bend him, being able to make Goku not being able to move any of his muscles. That pressure being so devastating had even made him fall to the floor, and even at the Time Room would begin to change its appearance, starting to destroy half of all of the over the place. Volcanoes, as well as stars, were created and at the same time destroyed by that beastly power.
What the hell? Who's all this power? I knew that the Ultra Instinct would be effective with warriors of similar powers to mine, but with a warrior that's completely overshadows me, I won't be able to even move like I am now.
All over the place, some extremely giant footsteps could be heard, while a large silhouette could be observed all over the place. That silhouette left Goku surprised.
If you're an Ozaru, although your size is thousands of times bigger than an ordinary Ozaru, I don't feel evil or bad intentions in you.
You will be the next legendary Sacred Ozaru. As your heart's being pure, you are worthy that I trust you with all my power.
What? I don't understand anything.
I'll be part of your power since millions of years have passed, and I've been able to search for the warrior who is worthy. And you'll be the warrior to bring glory to this multiverse. Great, the useless Zeno-sama. He and I were also great friends.
Without Goku being able to say anything, an incredible power began to enter his entire body, at which, the moment loud screams of Goku would resound throughout the room of time, since the power that Goku was releasing was of an extremely incredible scale, so much so that he had formed multiple dimensional cracks. However, his power seemed to have no limits since it continued to constantly increase.
Hell, I haven't understood almost anything, but I have to be able to close all these dimensional cracks or even destroy the Earth.
Goku, concentrating to the maximum, was able to decrease his power a little, but it was getting too much, since too much blood was coming out all over the place, since the power that the Sacred Ozaru had granted him seemed to be unlimited. After a few weeks, Goku would fall to the ground, not being able to withstand all the power of that beast. For his part on the planet of Beerus, the training of the Prince of the Saiyan had begun, in which they mainly concentrated in the same way on the control of their internal energy, so that he was able to simulate the power of destruction throughout his body. When he is still able to control his internal energy 100%, we will start with his new training, which will be the control of the destructive energy, also known as the energy of the gods of destruction. Vegeta was still in a meditation pose, while his entire internal system kept his power stable. Although this training seems to be the easiest, it really was the most difficult training that the Prince of the Saiyans was carrying out, since it was not a physical training. On the contrary, it was even a mental training, to which he had never undergone. Returning to the time room, it had already been 3 years, which in the outside would have been equivalent to 3 days. Goku was able to wake up, but his whole body was extremely heavy, because the power of that beast had not been controlled at all.
My body, it hurts completely. Even my fingers hurt. What the hell happened? Am I the legendary Sacred Ozaru now? I don't even know what that is.
Goku would try to stand up in his base state, since his body seemed to weigh tons. So while trying to transform, he had the risk of exploding from all the excess energy.
I have to control all this power, first in my base state. I don't know what the hell has happened, or if this is a divine force, but I appreciate this power. I don't feel good accepting powers from third parties, but I'll use this great power to protect all my friends.
Goku in his base state would start with his great training, while only focused on the control of his new power. Meanwhile, in a place far, far away from all the 12 universes, a warrior from the form of a skeleton would stand.
So the damn Orochi was able to find a real carrier. That damn good-for-nothing monkey. I don't care who your carrier is. I will eradicate it. And this time I'll keep your power whether you want it or not.
Mezville, which was the name of this powerful warrior, would start walking all over his castle. But with every one of his steps outside, thousands of catastrophes would happen. So a warrior would arrive in front of the Mezville.
Oh my lord, what's the matter? I can tell he's in a terrible mood, but I'm sure this is all due to something specific. I don't want to talk to anyone right now, so you'd better get the hell out of my sight.
The warrior would leave, as otherwise his life might be in danger.
I swear that I'll find you, and I will end your damn hope of eliminating evil completely. That is impossible since I'm the embodiment of evil, and ending my existence is impossible.
Returning to the room of time, this training of Goku was costing him too much, since it had already been about 3 more years, and Goku hadn't been able to master even 25% of all that power.
This is really bad. But how much did that Ozaru have? Was he looking for a successor or carrier? I don't understand, but I'm sure a very powerful warrior of the same form must be waiting for me somewhere in the 12 universes.
For his part in the Kingdom of the Whole, Zeno-sama was extremely bored, so he would request the presence of Daishinken.
Tell me, Lord, what is offered to you? Anything I can help you with?
Daishinken, I'm really bored. Bring my friend Goku, please.
It's okay, Zeno-sama. Right now, I'll communicate with Mr. Goku.
Daishinken, with his great mental power, would try to communicate with Son Goku, but it would be impossible for him, because he was nowhere in the 12 universes. So Daishinken, a little bewildered, would go to planet Earth. The instant he arrived, the god of the Earth was surprised to realize that such an existence was in front of him.
Pepe, But this is Daishinkan-sama, the father of all angels and guardian of the mighty Zeno-sama. I don't know how you know my identity, although I assume Mr. Goku must have told you about my existence. Tell me, Mr. Powerful Daishinkan-sama, how can we help you? I am in search of the warrior's son Goku, because the great Zeno-sama has requested his presence. Of course, Mr. Goku is currently training in the time room. Please allow me to take him to where he is. I would really appreciate it.
Both would arrive towards the entrance of the time room, for which Dende would leave. Instantly, the Great Priest would enter that dimension, but I was surprised since entering had felt the air pressure had completely changed. That's right, the pressure would even force the Great Priest to expel 35% of all his power, so that he wasn't affected by that great pressure.
What is this? What's happening here? It is not more than 4 months that the Tournament of Power was held, and Son Goku's power could not grow in this unreal way.
Daishinkan, when observing Son Goku, was surprised since it seemed that he had chosen the imperfect Ultra Instinct as his base state, but the energy that his body released was extremely incredible. Daishinkan, being trained to protect the powerful Zeno-sama, was able to withstand that great pressure, but it was surprising that a simple mortal releases all that power. Daishinkan would get to where he found Son Goku.
Oh, I'm sorry, Daishinkan-sama. I hadn't noticed your presence. Tell me, has something happened?
He has left me amazed by the power he's been able to achieve in that short period of time. But I'm here because the great Zeno-sama has requested your presence.
Oh, I understand. I'm just training now. But can you inform him that in one day I'll go to the Kingdom of the Whole, please?
I understand, Mr. Goku. I'll inform you.
Daishinkan would leave, so Goku would, with a look of determination and enthusiasm, would say the same.
On the remaining day of training, I have to be able to master even 50% of all this power. I want to surprise my friend Zeno, and I also want to have a battle with the Great Priest.
So Goku would continue with his training, but while training in all his aura, a great beast would form. The last day of Son Goku's training had ended, of which Goku had left the room of time with a totally different appearance, since his hair had completely changed, seeming to have had a transformation, and although his pressure was amazing, at the same time his essence was warm, which had surprised the deities who were in the temple.
I'm very grateful that I had been allowed to use the time of room. At this moment, I'll leave for the Kingdom of the All, because Zeno-sama's requested my presence.
Goku, with his teleportation, was able to reach the Kingdom of the Whole in a matter of seconds, so he had been greeted by Daishinkan, which his amazement was much greater.
What's happening? I can't believe the power that Son Goku's able to get in a single day, because until yesterday his power was completely different from now.
Hey Daishinkan, just like I said, I'm already here.
Okay, Mr. Goku, please, this way.
Daishinkan along with Goku would arrive to where Zeno-sama was, who at the moment had rushed against him.
I missed you too, little Zen, but what is it that you wanted to talk to me about? I'm really bored. I want to play with you. What do you think? How about if you watch a battle between the High Priest and Mia?
Daishinkan, as well as his guardians, were very surprised.
Yes, my best friend. Am I guardian fighting? I want to see such a battle.
My lord, a battle of that caliber is not recommended, because the power of that High Priest is far superior to the power of his friend. It could even end his life.
Don't worry, little Zen. I'm sure you'll get a big surprise. Trust me.
Mr. Goku, I'm aware that you've been able to get such a great power in this time, but unlike Mia, you have no chance, since I have a greater experience that surpasses you by millions of years.
I also want to measure myself with one of the 5 most powerful warriors of all the 12 universes.
By that confidence you have in yourself, I imagine you must possess an incredible power. So it's okay. I accept your challenge.
And the platform would be created by Daishinkan quickly, at which, at the moment, both opponents would descend towards the platform.
I hope you don't get complacent, Mr. Goku, as my attacks are lethal.
The same I would say, Daishinkan. I hope you don't trust yourself just because you're immortal.
Both instantly released their power, with which, this time, they caused hundreds of catastrophes throughout the 12 universes. Zeno-sama, realizing everything that was happening, would reinforce each of the barriers that had been put on the platform.
This battle looks like it'll be one of the most fun.
At the moment, both warriors began to exchange thousands of blows all over the place. That's right, both seemed to be very evenly matched, because in none of them the advantage could be observed. Daishinkan, being a few centimeters from being able to connect a blow on Goku's face, was like a flash, was able to position himself to one side of it. With the double fist, he was able to send him to a different place to the platform, so the battle of both would expand throughout the Kingdom of the Whole. Daishinkan, by impact with the ground, he had created a great devastation all over the place, as the power with which he had been impacted was of another level.
That hurt, dang it. Where was he able to get so much power from? But the most amazing thing is how his speed exploded in a few seconds.
Wow, that was amazing! I can't believe the power my friend Goku possesses.
Has Daishinkan been trusted? I can't believe a mere mortal was able to bestow such a powerful blow. Daishinkan would immediately release a little more of all his power, so at the moment, a great aura would rise all over the place, as well as a surprising pressure he'd been able to cause several cuts on Son Goku's body.
Wow, I can tell you have an amazing power. I even think that I'll have to raise my level a little more.
Do you have any more hidden power? I don't know how the hell you've been able to get all that power, but it's a strange thing. Right now, I'll defeat you.
Without Daishinkan being able to release all his power, Daishinkan had connected a powerful blow to him that is almost capable of knocking him out of combat. So he had sent him to part of the Kingdom of the Whole, being dragged due to the power.
I know that you also possess great stamina, so I'm sure you'll be able to withstand this Galactic Atomizer.
It seemed superficially a single attack, however they were really multiple attacks in one. So at the moment that Goku would be hit, hundreds of explosions began to affect him. However, when Daishinkan approached, he was surprised because Goku, instead of becoming unconscious as Daishinkan had planned, it could be observed how his appearance began to change as all his power began to grow in an overwhelming way. That's right, Goku was accessing a state similar to the legendary Ozaru, with which his body was not able to withstand much more energy.
What are you, Son Goku? No being of either divine energy or mortal energy should have such a growth of energy.
I can't believe the power that he's releasing, the power of that Saiyan. He really is able to defeat Daishinkan. Goku was able to begin to have an incredible transformation, in which this time his whole body began to look with a big fur. So the imposing attack that Daishinkan had thrown at him would be absolutely nothing against the power that Goku was releasing. At the moment of a powerful roar would cause thousands of destruction all around. Even the simple sonic slingshot had sent Daishinkan flying hundreds of meters, crashing down to part of their place. Both Guardians used large part of their power to create a barrier and protect the king from the whole. For this part, returning to the battle of the planet of Cerberus, in the Prince of the Saiyans he had been able to master all his internal energy. So his power had grown in an incredible way. However, he was still not able to access his destructive energy. The power that you've been able to obtain in this time is incredible. It fills me with pride, Mr. Vegeta. But from this moment, the training really begins.
I'm ready for the training you want to grant me, Whis.
We'll start for training about for a month. Your physical abilities so that your body is able to withstand this state beyond a god.
That's what I wanted to hear, Whis. Let's start.
Vegeta would start training with Whis, which every day he tried to hit him. However, it was impossible for the Prince of the Saiyans. Returning to the Kingdom of the Whole, from a small explosion, Goku could be seen with a new imposing appearance all over the place. Well, at the moment, everyone present was surprised of all the power that Goku was able to release.
How was he able to destroy my attack? I would understand if he had dodged it for destroying him with her simple aura. This is a joke.
You made me use a lot more power than I planned to, so Daishinkan. I know that you also had a lot more power. Use it all, because I'm sure that in your current state, you won't be able to do anything against me.
Don't underestimate me. With the power I'm using, it's necessary to beat you.
I warned you. I'll grant you a small blow so that you're able to realize the true power that I possess.
Daishinkan would be on guard, but despite being prepared to receive Goku's blow, he wasn't able to do anything, since Goku, with a speed that even broke the sound barrier, was able to connect a slight blow in Daishinkan's stomach. Although for Goku, it had seemed slight, Daishinkan would fall to the ground vomiting large amounts of blood all over the place. What? How was he able to hit him? I wasn't able to see anything.
My friend's power is really amazing. I think only I'm capable of facing him. Although for that, I will have to access my combat state.
Damn, That hit hurt me too much. How was he able to hit me with such power?
I'd warned you, so you better use all your power right now, or with the next blow I'll end this battle.
In a very distant place, in the castle of Mezville, this one with a crystal sphere, he was observing the entire combat.
So that guy has the power of the legendary Sacred Ozaru. He's a mere mortal. This will be much easier than planned. My lord, how are you feeling right now? Is there anything I can help you with? Not Susano, but in the next century I will finally get all the power of the Sacred Ozaru, since its current bearer is a mere mortal. But my lord, with the respect you deserve, if that damn ape chose that mortal as his successor, it must be because his power is of another level. No, Susano, no matter how much talent he has, he is not able to compare with the power of a god, much less with the power of us, who possesses heavenly energy. I understand, my lord, but if it will be better for to investigate the warrior who possesses such power.
Returned to the battlefield, Daishinkan would begin to release all his power. That's right, he would not hide any of his power in this battle. Hundreds of rumbles could be perceived through the 12 universes, since being an angelic energy, all his children were able to feel the power that their father was releasing.
What has happened? Oh, why has our father released all this power?
But in the same way, in a very distant part of the whole place, Mikoshin, the mother of Daishinkan, when one of the first existences to possess celestial energy, in the same way would realize how her only son had released 100% of all his power.
Wow, so what's going on in the Zeno-multiverse? For Daishinkan to unleash his full power, the warrior must be facing is terrifying.
Mikoshin, with a great dimensional power, would begin to move between dimensions, until reaching the battlefield, without being perceived by any of the warriors, realizing himself as the king of the whole, just as his guardians were watching the battle.
Wow, apparently it's a friendly battle, but since I'm here, I want to observe the result of this great battle.
Daishinkan had finished releasing all his power, so at the moment he would begin to approach Goku.
You are the first mortal to make me use all my power, so I hope you're prepared.
It'll be an honor for me to measure myself in an even battle with the great priest.
Instantly, both, as if were flashes, would begin to cover thousands of blows all over the place. But their blows this time were capable of ending half the universe. Daishinkan at the moment was able to grant me a big blow, which had sent Goku flying, but at the moment of falling to the ground would create a big explosion. Rocks, which seemed indestructible, had become simple sand.
That has 100% of all my power. Apparently you haven't been able to assimilate that much power.
But Daishinkan, before he was able to do anything, he would fall out of combat because Goku, like a flash, was able to grant him in the same way his last blow. In the stomach, but the power had gained so much that he would knock him out of combat. Although Goku would fall out of combat due to the excessive use of his power.
Wow, I can't believe that inside that mortal, the power of the legendary Sacred Ozaru sleeps. So for that reason, he possesses all that power.
The Guardians, being about to fix each of the damage, Mikoshin would appear in the middle of the battlefield, managing to leave everything intact. But Zeno-sama, like the Guardians, were surprised to observe an existence as powerful as Mikoshin was.
But if you are Mikoshin-sama, tell us, what can we do for you?
It is just passing through with the multiverse and wanted to know whose these powers belong to.
Mikoshin, without saying more words, would disappear from the whole place. Meanwhile, in the castle of Mezville, this warrior would choose to change his body to a much younger one, because the words of his servant had made him reflect.
It'll be better to adapt a much younger body, because in the worst case, that war could be a real headache.
Mezville would begin to change his body to that of a simple child, although his power had grown in an incredible way by compressing it to a much smaller body. The powerful warrior named Mezville, choosing to have a much younger body, had decided a body of a warrior, although on this occasion, at the moment, of a large crystal had caused a small explosion in the entire castle there were, so his subject would quickly enter into the bedroom of his lord, noticing a small child.
I don't know who the hell you are, but I will end your life by entering the territory of a being of celestial energy.
Susanoo would wield a great sword, so at the moment with the celestial technique, he was able to make the sword grow hundreds of times. So he was starting to approach towards Mezville.
Hehe, apparently he has not been able to recognize me, but this is perfect to test my new body and to be able.
Mezville, who knew that his subject was not weak at all, would concentrate a lot of energy to be able to stop the sword. But to his surprise, he was only able to stop the sword with only 2 fingers, which left both surprised.
What? How is he able to stop my sword with only 2 fingers?
This is amazing. My destructive power surpasses Susanoo by tens of times. But every time I use this technique, I had to use a large part of my power on my whole arm.
Susanoo at the moment had launched himself against Mezville, beginning to give him a beating. Or that was what could be observed with the naked eye, since all the blows that Mezville received had absolutely no damage to him. Susanoo instantly would summon a giant of negative energy, with which he would grant him a powerful blow, which had made him fall to the bottom of the planet, creating great chaos all over the place.
I don't know who the fuck you are, but he gets one of my most powerful attacks.
Susanoo would throw a gigantic sphere of energy at Mezville, who on this occasion would put himself on guard. With a single blow was able to return such an incredible attack.
Hehehe, I love this body, and the only thing his physique is that he's of a simple human, but the condensed power is amazing.
No, damn. The only one who would be able to do something against you would be my king.
Susanoo, I am your king, so don't worry. I took seriously the recommendation you gave me about that Saiyan, so I decided to adopt a much more powerful body.
Wow, but that body, although it looks like that of a simple child, the power he possesses is incredible. He even surpasses his previous body.
I agree with you, but I also know that I can get a lot more potential out of it, and I will keep all the power of the legendary Sacred Ozaru.
Returning to the Kingdom of the Hold, Goku and Daishinkan had been sent to different rooms so that they're able to fully recover.
The power they both unleashed is amazing, but what amazes me the most is that even the powerful Mikoshin-sama has taken an interest in the battle.
My lord, apparently Mr. Goku is about to wake up.
Hehe, what a good joke. That's impossible. Since it's only been 45 minutes since they finished their match, he could have recovered in that short period of time.
But at the moment, Zeno-sama was surprised to realize how Goku was standing in his state of perfect Ultra Instinct.
Hehehe, the power of Daishinkan's amazing, even for me. Apparently we have been in a draw. Hehe, next time I'll be able to beat him completely.
Goku, how have you been able to recover in this short period of time?
The damage wasn't serious as it seemed, and with the help of you and your guardians, I was able to speed up my recovery.
Thank you, little Zen. Goku, keep training, because the next fight you'll have will be against me in my combat state. Hehehe.
Wow, I didn't know that you possessed a combat state, but of course, I'll be looking forward to the day that I'll be able to fight with you, little Zen.
Goku would immediately leave again, but this time he would leave for an inhospitable planet of his entire Universe 7, with the intention of controlling his internal energy much more, or rather the power of the legendary Sacred Ozaru.
A battle that is that difficult was needed to be able to get a little more power, since I have been able to master it to 60% of its full capacity.
Meanwhile, returned to the planet of Beerus, the physical training of the Prince of the Saiyans had finally come to an end, in which on this occasion, Beerus would grant him a little of his destructive energy, with which he should be able to master it.
The energy I've granted you is enough for you to master it. When you're able to access the God state of destruction, you must control that power.
Exactly. As Mr. Beerus has said, when you have been able to choose a destructive state, you should meditate again, because the destructive energy can destroy your enemy, but if you do not control it 100%, it can even destroy yourself.
I'm sure that I'm able to master that energy, because for the Prince of the Saiyans, there is no limit.
Beerus would grant the necessary energy to the Prince of the Saiyans. His body as well as his aura had completely changed, because this time all his power was much more destructive like his aura. The Prince of the Saiyans, of a powerful liberation, and all his power, was able to access the state of a god of destruction. But being a Saiyan, I would call that transformation as the state of Ultra Ego. It's amazing how Mr. Vegeta has been able to achieve it in this short period of time. It amazes me.
I agree with you, Whis. I'm sure that the next time in which Goku and Vegeta face each other, Goku won't stand a chance against Vegeta.
This power is amazing. I feel like I could defeat any warrior.
Don't let yourself be carried away and influenced by power, as you must be able to control it 100%, because the energy drain in such a state's overwhelming. Mr. Vegeta, at this time we start with the mental and spiritual training again, but this time so that you'll be able to control all that power of the god of state of destruction.
Alright, Whis. Although I already want to start with physical training, I'll try my new powers.
All the take is easy, Mr. Vegeta. All you have to do is have a good foundation in controlling your energy, or irreparable damage may incur in your energy system. Vegeta in his new state would begin to master all his power completely, while being watched by Whis and Beerus.
Hey, Whis, how long do you think it'll take him to master his power 100%?
I have no idea, Mr. Beerus, although, with the pace you are going in the past training, I think it shouldn't take you more than 2 months.
I think it's very little time, since even I take years to be able to enter the Master of the God of Destruction state.
But there is a big difference between you and Mr. Vegeta, because for his part, he wants to become much more powerful, unlike you.
Whis, that's not a joke, only that I've been a prodigy. I don't see the point of training, if even without training I'm the most powerful God of Destruction.
Lord Beerus, do not be confident, because in every universe you will always be able to appear much more powerful than warriors who can overcome your power with incredible ease.
Don't be stupid, Whis. That's impossible. Since the most powerful authority of each universe is its god, it must be the most powerful warrior to be able to put order.
I hope I'm wrong, Mr. Vegeta, but that only time will be able to tell. For his part, on the planet that Goku was on, he was also able to top the mountain in a meditation pose because he wanted to control 100% of all the power of the sacred legendary Ozaru. He had to control his energy flow in the same way at the highest level. I never thought that meditation would be more difficult than physical training. I feel like I'm not making the slightest progress. But Goku, at the moment of releasing his power, or rather, what he had controlled on this occasion, at the moment of releasing it, an incredible Ozaru could be observed through Universe 7. Because its size was colossal, such Ozaru, it could be observed from the planet of Beerus.
What's that? I also feel an incredible pressure. Is that about that beast? Even my body feels an incredible terror.
I don't know, Mr. Beerus, but apparently that's the observation of trainings the Saiyans used to use when observing the full moon. Vegeta, who was also meditating, felt his whole body tremble because of such incredible power on the part of the Ozaru. So the moment Vegeta opened his eyes, he was surprised to observe such an incredible Ozaru.
What is this surprise to be? The size of an Ozaru can't reach such scales. Even if I feel it, it's releasing an amazing pressure.
Vegeta, we don't know if that power is about a new ally or a new enemy, so we ask if you could come with us.
Of course, Whis. I'll go. Because that Ozaru just gives me more to understand something. A Saiyan has so much power to transform to such size.
The three warriors left quickly to where the energy center of that Ozaru was located. For his part, even Goku had been surprised of the incredible power that his own body gave off. So at the moment, in his mind, the Sacred Ozaru would communicate with Goku.
That is the representation of my spirit form. So you, being the new Sacred Ozaru, can transform like that. As long as you see the largest moon of the 12 universes, also known as the Mega Moon, or invoke my spirit form.
Oh, I understand. I appreciate it very much, and I promise that I'll be the warrior to whom you have many expectations. I'll protect this entire multiverse.
Oh, I know you will. Since your courage is capable of even giving your life to other warriors, with the power you possess now, I know you'll go even further than I once could.
After a few minutes, the deities along with Vegeta had arrived on that planet, in which the Ozaru had already disappeared. But everyone was surprised to find Goku meditating, while his aura remained calm and likewise released a pressure that would intimidate any warrior. Mr. Goku, was the Ozaru that could be seen a few moments ago a part of your power? So long without seeing them. And you're right, Whis. I don't control my power 100%, so I released a new technique that I've been perfecting.
Don't say stupid things, Insect. You haven't had the divine training. You can't have a power greater than mine.
How about we have a little combat like the old days?
I can't feel Son Goku's power in full, but I'm sure Vegeta can't lose against Son Goku, since Vegeta's under the teachings of an angel. That's been able to master part of his destructive energy. We can't be so sure of that, since the power of Mr. Goku has left me surprised, because he is even able to make my body shudder. Vegeta would begin to access the Ultra Ego, since his body asked him to release all his power, so even the Prince of the Saiyans would release a power beyond the body his own body supported. However, very close to the warriors, Mezville would be watching everything that happened, being prepared to attack Goku at the right time.
Wow, Vegeta, I can tell you have an amazing power, but don't be able to do anything against me.
Goku would only remain in the perfect Ultra Instinct, with which, at the moment, both began to exchange thousands of blows. And as surprising as it may seem, Vegeta was not able to connect a single one of his blows, while Goku, on the other hand, had been able to connect sneakily blows on Vegeta's body. But at the moment, Goku, having his senses much more developed, was able to perceive the essence of Mezville. So Goku, with a powerful blow, had sent Vegeta flying to the side of Beerus and Whis, and at the moment, would create a barrier over the three warriors.
What's going on, Mr. Goku? Why haven't you left at the barrier?
But Whis was surprised to not be able to see any warrior, only to observe how Goku had been sent to fly thousands of kilometers, causing great disasters all around.
Heh, so you were able to notice my presence. That seems amazing to me, but it won't be enough to face me.
However, all the power that Goku had been able to master was beginning to be released, beginning to access that mythical transformation that he had used against Daishinken. But unlike before, the power he released on this occasion was overwhelming. So much so that the deities were surprised to realize the new transformation of the Saiyan. The incredible power of Goku would be present for each of the 12 universes, even being so much that it had been perceived up to the Kingdom of the Whole, which would even attract the attention of the great figures of that place.
Goku is releasing all that power. How's it possible that someone forces him to use all his power? It's even much bigger than the power I used against Daishinken.
My lord, as far as we've been able to investigate, of warriors also very close to Lord Goku, but we're not able to measure his power. Zeno-sama, with a great mental ability, was able to move through each of the 12 universes, being able to observe the subject.
And who the hell is that warrior? I've never seen him before, but it leaves me amazed that he's not affected by the incredible pressure that Goku's entire body releases.
For his part, Goku at the moment had expelled his power to the limit that his body could withstand. So instantly, Goku, as if it were a flash, would grant him a powerful blow, causing a great disaster due to the power. However, Mezville was able to stop Goku's blow with only one of his hands, which surprised everyone present. Now I understand why Mr. Goku has locked us in a barrier, but I'm not able to understand the power that his enemy possesses. It is a gigantic power. Hey, Whis, this must be a nightmare. A warrior can't possess such a great power. I agree with you, Mr. Beerus. I don't know how Mr. Goku's been able to get all of this power in this short period of time. But to the warrior he's facing, even we angels wouldn't be able to do something to him. Again, they observed how Goku had been sent to fly thousands of kilometers all over Universe 7. So at the moment, Mezville would also move at a flashing speed, which at the moment, he was able to give him a beating. The difference in powers was so much that this time Goku was not even able to defend himself, while Goku received the beating of his life. He would say to himself, "This is the power that I'm able to withstand, but I think I have to push my body to the limit, because otherwise this damn dwarf is going to kill me." Mezville would instantly hold Goku by one of his legs, starting to whip his body against all the planets that were around him, causing him abysmal damage, because this time his body as well as his internal system were being affected in an incomparable way. Even his energy veins seemed like they were going to explode. Ha ha ha! What happened? I thought the bearer of the legendary Sacred Ozaru would be much more powerful, but you're just another piece of trash. You deserve death. Ah, that hurt too much, but right now I'll get over all my limits. Goku would hardly begin to stand up, while his usual internal system would begin to transport even 100 times more energy than usual. Instantly, an incredible roar would be heard by each of the 12 universes. While his body began to wear a plated colored fur, just as his hair changed to the same color, and that was not all, because his power likewise began to increase thousands of times, which, on this occasion, even the King of the Whole felt like it was pressure was able to end his life. Meanwhile, Mezville, he wouldn't move any of his fingers.
Don't worry, I want you to release all your power, because no matter what you do, this universe will be your grave, and I will keep all the power of the legendary Sacred Ozaru.
Goku would say absolutely nothing. They were just focusing on releasing all his power, and that his body would not explode in the process. But in Goku's mind, he was able to observe the legendary Sacred Ozaru while pointing at a large door.
Master, you don't have to worry, I'll be your shield, and I'll not let you die against this curse of Mezville. If you die in this battle, it'll for me be an honor to fight by your side.
In that case, I won't hold back. I plan to use all the power of the Sacred Ozaru. I know that your hard skin will be my shield, since your resistance is much greater than mine.
I'm counting on that, Master. And in case you need more power, you can access this door, because it contains the power of the supermoon of the 12 universes, which will give us a gigantic power for only 12 minutes. But then we have a 90% chance of dying. But it will be an honor if we both go to the other world with Mezville.
Goku, without fear that his body would explode on this occasion, would begin to release much more power. Even his muscles began to grow exponentially, while each of his energy veins seemed to explode due to the excess power they were transporting. At the moment, a big explosion that was able to be observed from all 12 universes would be present. While Goku's form had changed drastically, at this moment, even his body looked like that of a beast to be a silver.
I'm ready. This is all the power of the legendary Sacred Ozaru.
Wow, it seems amazing to me. But you'll need much more than that to be able to cope with me. I'm not any insect that you've defeated before.
Goku would move at a great speed, which Mezville would not be left behind, both immediately beginning to exchange millions of blows for each of the 12 universes. Even the king at all was not able to do anything, just stay as a spectator, because the level of this battle even exceeded his expectations.
This is amazing! I never thought that Goku's power would go this far. This time he has been able to overcome my combat state. Goku can easily defeat me.
My lord, you, as the king of the all, should protect each of the 12 universes. If necessary, we will join you to access 100% of all your power.
You're right. I, as the king of everything, I have to keep order in this multiverse.
Zeno-sama would begin to access his combat state, with the help of the Guardians to be able to release much more power, because hundreds of planets for each of the 12 universes were beginning to be destroyed. And with this, the lives of thousands of inhabitants, Zeno-sama would instantly be able to access his combat state, with which, without wasting time, he would move to the center of the 12 universes, in which he began to channel a large part of all his power, with the intention of placing barriers in each universe and planets. Meanwhile, returned to the Kingdom of the All, Daishinkan finally would have woken up after his great battle against Goku. But he was surprised, being dragged to the ground by a surprising pressure which even did not let him breathe normally.
What the hell's going on? I can't believe all this power is being released in Universe 7. Maybe a new enemy has appeared?
Daishinkan at the moment would also expel a large part of all his power, being able to feel the essence of the powerful Zeno-sama. So at the moment, he would quickly reach the side of his king, being surprised, as the king of all is channeling all his power in order to protect each of the 12 universes.
My lord, an apology, but what is happening? Who are the beings that are causing such devastation in the 12 universes?
Zeno-sama, being channeling his power, he could not explain what happened to Daishinkan. So at the moment, he would transmit everything that happened. Thanks to an incredible mental power, Daishinkan was surprised in the same way he would begin to channel his power to protect each of the 12 universes.
My lord, if we do it together, it'll be much easier, and we must trust in Mr. Goku. He will be the savior of this timeline.
Returning to the battlefield, both warriors at this moment seemed very equal, since the blows that both were awarded were very similar, as well as the power. However, Goku's power while the battle was going on would begin to plummet, while Mezville had only used 66 of all his power. So he was very confident. Instantly, Mezville would increase his power to 80%, being able to deal with an impressive blow, destroying the planet on which Goku would be thrown.
I realize that you possess a great power, but that'll not be enough for you to be able to do something against me. You're still a simple worm.
Goku's body would expel large amounts of blood as he started crawling all over the place, due to his limbs having been completely destroyed.
Damn it. Us being the deities of the universe, we're not able to do anything. This irritates me.
But Mr. Beerus, we are not able to do anything since we don't even possess the necessary power to get out of this barrier.
No, Kakarot still has an ace up his sleeve. I know him. I know he won't give up so easily. We trust you, Insect.
Mezville would immediately begin to approach, while he began to carry a small sphere of energy in the palm of his hand. But to his surprise, Goku's power on this occasion had completely changed, because his fur would disappear while celestial marks began to appear all over his body. Just as all his power created to be felt by the beings of Common Divide energy, that's right, Goku had accessed the door of the 12 Supreme Moons, or likewise known as the 12 Universal Moons, which gave him an unreal power to Sacred Ozaru. Goku, being its carrier, was able to benefit from all that power, which on this occasion would even cause a chill throughout Mezville's body, because the energy he released was in the same power dimension. He was no longer inferior to Mezville, which left him surprised.
Damn, I don't know where you're able to get so much power from, but it doesn't matter. Since your body is in pieces, you won't be able to master all that power.
Goku of a small explosion could be observed with a much more intimidating appearance, while his cold gaze watched Mezville fixedly.
I don't care who the hell you are, nor because you want the power that has been granted to me, but by putting each of the 12 universes at risk, I intend to annihilate you.
Mezville on this occasion, before being able to say anything, he was thrown towards some rocks with a superhuman power, which would even destroy several of his ribs in the process, which would cause Mezville to vomit large amounts of blood all over the place.
Ugh. How was he able to hit me with that incredible speed? I was only able to see a flash, but I'm not able to notice when it hit me. I'll have to use 100% of all my power because this battle's taking much longer than planned.
Mezville would instantly release 100% of all his power, with which he had similarly thrown himself against Goku. At the moment, both began with the final battle of the Divine Kingdom. The blows that both were granted at this moment were blows capable of destroying universes. Goku was immediately receive a powerful blow, being sent flying. But while Goku fell, he was able to summon a part of the body of the Sacred Ozaru, which with the powerful roar was able to also send him flying. Both would fall into terrible conditions, even his legs were shaking due to the excess energy.
Damn worm, it's a good choice to have chosen to have a new body, otherwise I would have died a long time ago. But this body has much more power.
Mezville at the moment would release much more power than his body was able to withstand. The power, despite being surprising, had subtracted a large part of his speed, which Goku would take advantage of to grant him thousands of blows all over the body, being able to destroy several energy veins. Meanwhile, in the castle of Mezville, Susanoo, who was watching everything that happened in the same way, had been very surprised.
I can't allow my king to be hurt like this. I have to do something because otherwise my king may lose his life.
This was how Susanoo at a great speed would begin to move throughout the infinite space, while Goku began to destroy every part of his resistance with the intention of causing a big explosion with which he would be able to end Mezville's life once and for all.
Damn, I only have 2 minutes left of all this power. I have to make it.
Goku even activated his iconic technique, the Kaioken, increased 100 times. His power would explode. However, the time would be shortened to only 1 minute, in which Goku would use his powerful Dragon Punch, destroying almost all his energy veins. But at the moment, Goku at a great speed would move towards Mezville.
If I die, it'll be an honor to end the life of one of the most powerful warriors I've ever faced, so there's nothing to lose.
Goku at the moment was able to channel all his energy, while in the same way, energy from all the 12 universes gathered in his body. Without warning, a gigantic explosion would begin to pulverize both warriors. On the other hand, the shield of the Sacred Ozaru was supporting the explosion, while Mezville was beginning to perish immediately, but Susanoo would arrive, being able to save his life. Although this in the same way had ended with fatal wounds all over his body, Goku at the moment would fall to a planet, being aided by the divine beings, which after a while, they'd been made a statue in his name. Meanwhile, returned to the realm of the Mezville, he was at rest for several months, in which he still did not wake up. But if he did, he had a clear goal: to finish with the bearer of the Sacred Ozaru completely. That battle had brought the end of a new era. But everything was very far from reality since after 5 years, all 12 universes had returned to normal.
My lord, apparently everything has returned to normal since 5 years have passed. Mezville's power has been completely lost.
It's true that Mezville's power has completely disappeared, but I don't know why I'm still feeling very intrigued. I feel like none of this is over.
Understand, sir. In the same way, I will inform all the gods and angels to remain on alert, in case any anomaly occurs.
Daishinkan would use his mental power, with which he was able to communicate with each of the angels to communicate to them the information of the great Zeno-sama.
Gods and angels, I want you to continue to be on alert, as something's not right in the 12 universes, as it seems we are still on high alert. As you command, Daishinkan-sama.
For his part, returning to planet Earth, Goku was at the sea training with Vegeta, because in this great battle, Goku had realized that if he wanted to become much more powerful, he also needs his companions to obtain great powers.
Your power's amazing, Vegeta, but you're not at my level yet.
That's obvious, Insect. The power I possess is completely mine. It's not like yours, that a legendary Ozaru has granted it to you.
Don't worry, Vegeta, as I have something special for you anyway, but we have to keep getting powerful.
Their battle would spread throughout the planet Earth without causing damage, so at the moment Goku with a powerful blow was able to send Vegeta flying, knocking him out of combat, creating a small explosion all around.
Phew! Luckily, we have moved far away from the city, otherwise hundreds of people have been affected by this chaos.
Goku would begin to approach where Vegeta had fallen, so he would realize that the Prince of the Saiyans was completely shocked.
I've had enough! No matter how hard I try, you always find a way to surpass me. But I promise I don't plan to stay behind you, Kakarot.
Apparently it's momentum, Vegeta. We better go to the time room, as we'll start with a great workout.
No, dim worm. At the moment, I have no mood to train with you anymore. I want to become much more powerful on my own.
Vegeta, please trust me, because at this moment, we both will be able to become much more powerful.
It's okay, damn insect, but if it's one of your stupid things, I'll leave.
Both warriors at a great speed had headed towards the time room. The instant they entered, Goku would expel a large part of his power because he had been able to combine all the power of the Sacred Ozaru with his Ultra Instinct state. Due to this, a great light would rise all over the place, while an incredible pressure would fall on Vegeta's entire body.
What the hell is this insect? But I'm not planning to let you overshadow me.
Vegeta, despite the fact that his bones were destroyed, he would give it a little smile, expelling the power of the authentic god of destruction. That's right, and all this time Vegeta had been able to master the power of a god completely, with which he was able to repel Goku's incredible aura a little. Despite not repelling it completely, Vegeta was able to stand up with a little difficulty.
What is this Kakarot supposed to be? No matter what kind of training it is, your power is much greater than mine. I have to accept it.
This is not the Vegeta that I know, because the Vegeta that's my rival would never let me overcome him so easily. And you're right, this power is partially thanks to the Ozaru, but I'll not only be the Supreme Ozaru, because you're my partner, deserves to be too.
What? What the hell are you telling me? I don't understand what you're telling me.
Goku at that moment, with a quick movement, was able to give him a slight blow in his heart. But that blow was different, because instantly an incredible power would begin to travel through Vegeta's body, while his chest began to burn in an amazing way. Vegeta would instantly expel his power, managing to raise an incredible aura of purple fire. That's right, it was the color of a god of destruction of his destructive energy.
I'm sure Vegeta will be able to master the power of the Supreme Ozaru. For that reason, I've been reserving a part of that power.
Vegeta at the moment, an incredible scream would generate a huge explosion all over the place. But, to the surprise of even Goku, Vegeta had ascended to the state of a giant Ozaru, starting to destroy everything around him. Goku would try to reason with Vegeta, but it was impossible for him. So at the moment, Vegeta was about to destroy the door of Time Room. So Goku would stand in front of Vegeta, and with an incredible roar, he was capable of forming the incredible Supreme Ozaru.
I'm so sorry, but what's with all this floating power? Although I've transformed into an Ozaru, what is this all about?
I guess you have to control that state. Since I have the Supreme Ozaru in my body, I directly accessed the Super Saiyan Celestial Phase 4. Vegeta would begin to concentrate, so after a few days of training, his body would begin to shrink, all while his fur changed to the purple color. That's right, Vegeta was able to adapt to the new transformation in the state of a god of destruction. Instantly, a gigantic power would be perceived in the entire time room. Alright, the power you possess is amazing. Even if I've had a hard time being in front of you, it's Vegeta time. Let's start with the training.
Kakarot, I never thought I'd say this, but I appreciate it, and I'm ready for the new training.
Meanwhile, in a very distant place, thousands of years had passed because Susanoo, before being knocked out of combat, had been able to enter together with his lord Mezville one of the special rooms, in which time passed in a very different way. Thousands of years had passed in that dimension thanks to Mezville being able to wake up, but his entire internal system was completely destroyed. Instantly, that Mezville would stand up, vomit large amounts of blood.
Damn, I even returned to my original body. I can't believe that power that miserable mortal's been able to get, but that was all thanks to that fucking Ozaru.
Mezville would walk through the dimension, which also had an identical castle, so at the moment he would notice the presence of Susanoo.
Susanoo, the most loyal warrior I've ever been able to have. I have to use all my ability to manage to heal all his wounds.
Mezville, with all his power, was able to get the help from the underworld. That's right, because at that instant, the doors of the entire underworld opened, while chains began to wrap around Susanoo's entire body.
I, as one of the first existences of this entire multiverse, I offer you one of the 7 elemental staves, but it completely heals my subordinate. This will be a win-win deal for both of us. I'll be waiting for my elemental staff.
The power of the entire underworld was able to completely heal Susanoo, who had been able to recover his power completely, managing to wake up a little altered.
What happened? Where am I? But my lord, you've already woken up. But you should be taking a break. Susanoo, I thank you for having been my most faithful and loyal soldier. But I did not want to share with my fate, since I've only gotten into this war. No, my lord, we have not given up yet. At this moment, I, the mighty Susanoo, give you all my power and become part of you. Don't say stupid things, Susanoo. We don't have the required power to take down the damn Supreme Ozaru. I trust you, my lord. You are the ruler of the whole Dark Kingdom.
Susanoo would transform into a kind of dark energy, starting to enter Mezville's body. That's right, his most loyal warrior was able to sacrifice himself and become part of his power. So at the moment, Mezville was able to assimilate all that great power, managing to destroy all that dimension. But before the divine beings are able to perceive his power, he would be able to reduce it quickly.
On this occasion, I plan to end the entire divine kingdom. Since I desire the power of the cursed one of the Ozaru, I just want everyone to die by my hands.
Mezville in all this time was able to once again opt the transformation of a child, so his power would have incredible increase in power, starting in the same way to channel all his power in his heart. That's right, Mezville had planned to sacrifice himself to end the entire reign of Zeno-sama. On the other hand, returning to the Room of Time, both Saiyans were fighting, which had a very equal battle. However, at that moment, the Supreme Ozaru was able to communicate with Goku.
My lord, apparently Mezville's still alive. His power has grown in an incredible way. But the weirdest thing is that his power even exceeds his limit. Apparently, he plans to explode to destroy everything in his path.
We can't afford that, so it's time to die together with that miserable one, since it won't be enough to keep him away. Are you with me?
Well, I've lived for millions of years, and have a dignified death is the best thing for a legend like me. I can also die peacefully knowing that a warrior named Vegeta also possesses the power of the Supreme Ozaru.
Goku, with a quick movement and using much more power, was able to knock Vegeta out of combat. So he would stretch out one of his hands, making Vegeta quickly recover. But he was still out of combat. That'll be enough, because this will not be a battle. It'll only be the end of something that should have never started.
I agree with you, Master. It's time to make.
For his part, in the entire realm of all, Mezville was able to appear. That's right, the realm of the great Zeno-sama was equally considered the center of all the 12 universes.
I never thought I'd say this, but I'm not interested in power anymore. I just want to end all you miserable. Mezville, please stop, because if you detonate all that incredible energy, even you will die. Everything that is in this universe will be reduced to simple atoms. Don't you think it's funny? All this will be in the name of my most faithful warrior, Susanoo, so we will all die.
Mezville's heart would start beating much faster, but instantly Goku was able to appear in front of everyone.
I've been able to realize your intentions, but apparently, for your energy to be able to explode, it must take about 5 minutes. In that time, I'll be able to get away from all this place.
Goku quickly would begin to access the Super Saiyan Almighty God. That's right, Goku in all this time was never able to master that transformation, since the price for using it was the destruction of each of his bones.
Apparently you're also willing to die, but I don't want to just end your life. I want to end all these universes.
I will let you do that, because of all these multiverses, I am the protector.
Goku would begin to grant him millions of blows, with which he would begin to out of control Mezville's energy. That's right, Mezville, having collected all that energy, his body was hundreds of times heavier than before, so he wasn't able to dodge Goku's attacks.
Mr. Goku will be able to take the victory. He's able to completely overcome.
No, my best friend is planning to die with Mezville, because in case of not holding him or holding them, Mezville was able to explode in these universes.
When Goku realized that Mezville's energy would begin to gather in the great intensities, he would hold him tightly by the neck, beginning to move through millions of temporal cracks, beginning to be able to move away to millions of light years, in which his explosion would not be able to cause damage to the Divine Kingdom. On the other hand, returning to the Room of Time, Vegeta would wake up with an incredible headache.
Ugh, my head hurts too much. That damn insect in all this time anyway was holding back.
But the mental power would be relieved at that instant.
Vegeta, at this moment I leave the protection of the entire planet Earth in your hands. Since I plan to die in this last battle, you will be the warrior who will bring peace to all the 12 universes. And in your body lies the power of the Supreme Ozaru. I trust you, Prince Saiyan.
Vegeta would quickly leave the Room of Time, realizing how an incredible power was moving away from all 12 universes. The moment Vegeta would try to come, he would be held tightly by Beerus and Whis.
Mr. Vegeta, please stop. Mr. Goku informs us that you would try to do something like this.
Whis, let me go, damn it! There's another option. I won't let Kakarot die.
But in that instant, 4 gigantic powers had united into one. So a tremendous explosion would be seen by every warrior of the 12 universes. While the power of Goku and Mezville completely disappeared, that's right, the essence of the Supreme Ozaru God had completely disappeared.
Friend Goku, the sacrifice you made will never be forgotten. I want them to make a big statue in each of the 12 universes, because thanks to you, we're still alive.
Damn insect, I didn't think you'd be able to leave me in such a big responsibility as taking care of these insects. But believe me, Kakarot, I'll meet your expectations.
This is how the two rivals had completely perished, as well as the Supreme Ozaru, along with his carrier son Goku, who would be remembered forever due to their great feats. It was a normal day in the life of the inhabitants of planet Earth. People were eating in restaurants, walking with their families. There were children playing when suddenly a giant lightning bolt was seen in the sky that caused a strong movement throughout the Earth's surface. Buildings collapsed. People could not stand up. Windows exploded. All this resulted in car accidents and injuries. At the moment, a child was going to be pierced by a giant glass that fell from a building. Very close by, we see how a being that we cannot distinguish who it is flies through the skies at great speed, rescuing people who were in danger due to the strong movement. At the precise moment when the child was about to die, that being rescues him, seeing how a huge piece of glass explodes against the ground. We see how this hooded being stands up from behind, revealing that it was none other than Goku, who had been hidden for a long time because Daishinken and the angels wanted to see him dead. Goku, with a different appearance than the one we all know, after rescuing the boy, is amazed by the energy that emerges from the earth to the sky. We can see how Vegeta arrives at the place where Goku is together with the Z Warriors, who were still saving people from the disaster. Vegeta looks at Goku face to face and says, "Kakarot, insect, where have you been all this time?" At that moment, Gohan and Goten arrive and tell him,
Dad, where have you been?
"What happened to you, father?" All this happened while Piccolo, Krillin, Trunks, and Android 18 were rescuing the people affected by the movement. After having finished saving them, they arrive to where they are reunited with Goku and look at him very surprised. In a head-to-toe scan, we can see Goku's face very emaciated, with wounds and pronounced cheekbones because he had not tasted any kind of food for a long time. At that moment, we go back in time about 20 years ago. We see how Goku and his son Goten are walking together in the forest. Goku, talking to his son, says,
Hey, Goten, are you ready to fish today?
To which Goten replies,
Yes, Dad. Will you show me the fastest way to catch them?
Goku, happy for his son's enthusiasm, replies,
Of course, Goten, but this time I'm going to try something different. Watch this.
Goku dives into the water and after a short time comes out with a big jump with a huge fish moving on his hands. Goten, very surprised, says to his father,
Wow, Dad, how did you do that?
Goku, showing a very happy expression, says,
When I was little like you, Goten, I had to find my own food in order to live. You should try to give it a try.
Goten, very excited, says to his father,
I'll try.
And so Goten dives into the water to the joyful sight of his father, to which, on the first attempt, Goten fails to catch any fish. Seeing Goten's sad face, Goku encourages his son, saying,
Don't worry, Goten. It's a matter of practice and patience. The key is to be quick and not scare the fish.
So Goten dives in again, but this time it takes a long time to come out. When suddenly Goku feels a very powerful ki very close to where he was. Because of this, Goku worried about his son's dives in search of him. Once in the water, he sees Goten fainted and next to him a very strange artifact. Goku, worried about the state in which he found his son, swims to rescue him. At the moment, he was about to lift his son in his arms, ready to go to the surface, the strange artifact begins to emit a very sharp sound that only Goku hears. Wu, with a face of confusion and pain, tries to lift his son, but suddenly the artifact comes off the ground and permeates his chest. Once on his chest, the artifact stops emitting that strange sound and Goku stops feeling the ki of a moment ago. Goku does not take importance to what had happened to him and worried about his son. He lifts him up to get him out of the water. Once outside, Goku puts his son on the ground to revive him, but suddenly an unknown being appeared to him. This being had a greenish coat, blue hair with black tips, and it was a very strange appearance. But it did not seem to be something real. It looked like an illusion. Goku, upon realizing this being, became alert and put his son in good protection. After that, addressing the being, he asks him,
Who are you? What do you want here?
This being, without uttering a word, rushes at high speed towards Goku, who in an act of reflex manages to dodge the first blow. But the speed of the stranger exceeds him by far. Because of that, after dodging the first blow, the unknown being lunges with a kick to the head, which Goku barely manages to block, leaving his stomach exposed, where he takes the opportunity to impact a direct punch, automatically leaving Goku out of air, and thus returns to lunge with a blow to the nape of the neck. Goku, when he was about to lose consciousness, hears a voice in the distance that says, "Apparently this is my best guest that could touch me," saying this in a sarcastic way. "I hope my colleagues are in good condition." After hearing these words, Goku faints. A few minutes after the fleeting confrontation, Goku regains consciousness and realizing that the unknown being was no longer in the place, he looks for Goten, and when he finds him, he begins to unexpectedly and repeatedly call his name to make him react. Seeing that calling him had no effect, he feels his breathing and notices that he was almost not breathing. He creates an energy sphere in his hand and places it on Goten's chest. Once Goten revives the energy from his father, he reacts and spurts water from his mouth. Goten, with a puzzled expression, asks his father what had happened, to which Goku says, "I have the same question for you. What happened?" Goten tells him that at the precise moment he was about to capture the fish, he felt attracted to the artifact, which also tried to impregnate in his chest. At the time, Goten felt a strong source of energy that ran through every part of his body, which was very difficult to control, and felt how that strange energy weakened him until he lost consciousness and fainted. Goku had his thoughts, and that he also felt the same strange and very powerful energy running through his body, and worried about his son, asked him if he still felt that energy inside him. Goku calmly and a little puzzled told him no, that he only felt that when the artifact was trying to permeate him. While this was happening on Earth, Whis and Beerus went to the Kingdom of Everything to talk to Daishoken, since they had noticed him very tense and worried. Once they were already in the Kingdom of Everything, Daishoken appears with a very serious expression, while Whis and Beerus bow to him to show respect. Daishoken, relieved to see that Whis and Beerus were with him, tells them something very strange and dangerous is about to happen. Whis, with a puzzled expression, asks, "What is it, father? We'd noticed a certain tension in the air as we reached the realm of the whole." Beerus, yawning without realizing the seriousness of the fright, says to him, "Trouble again? What could be so dangerous to make Daishoken so worried? Serious and worried, the High Priest?" To which Daishoken replies,
Yes, I'm afraid so. A powerful entity has resurfaced, once we have not faced in a long time.
Whis, with a very serious expression, says to him, "An unknown entity? Could it be one of the beings we left sealed away long ago?"
It is possible, Wisp. Its energies are as dark as they are disconcerting. I cannot identify the source with certainty, but its power is overwhelming.
Beerus, frowning, says,
Why should I worry about it? If it's that strong, I'll go and destroy it.
Daishoken, with a very serious expression, explains,
It's not that simple, Lord Beerus. This entity seems to have the ability to change even the most ancient gods. We cannot underestimate it.
Whis thoughtfully asks his father, "How do you suggest we deal with this situation, father?"
We need to gather information before we act rashly. Whis, Beerus, I trust you with the task of investigating. Find out all you can about this entity and any weaknesses it may have.
Beerus, smiling confidently, exclaimed,
Good, good. A little action won't hurt.
Nodding, Whis replies, "We will be on our way, Daishoken, but be aware that if this entity threatens our universe, we will not hesitate to take drastic measures."
I understand, Whis. May wisdom guide your actions, and may you return with the information we need.
After that conversation, Whis and Beerus depart for the hitherto unknown destination, while Daishoken watches with concern, aware of the gravity of the situation looming in the realm of everything. As they were on their way back to Earth to ask for Goku and Vegeta's help, Whis recalls that when they were on their way to the realm of everything, he sensed a very strong and dangerous ki on planet Earth. Halfway through his quest in the universe, he stops and, confused, Beerus says to Whis,
What's wrong? Why are you stopping?
Whis, very serene, says to Beerus, "Oh, my dear Lord Beerus, it turns out on our way to the realm of everything, I detected a rather intriguing presence." Yawning, Beerus asks,
A mysterious entity. We didn't need to get any of what Daishoken told us.
Whis, with a nervous smile, replies, "Don't worry, Mr. Beerus. This time it doesn't seem to be a direct threat. I just felt a fleeting flash of power, something that crossed our path." Beerus frowns at Whis.
And you didn't give it any importance? Isn't that what Daishoken was talking about?
"Well, the truth is, I didn't consider it an immediate threat. It was like a flash of power energy, but it disappeared as quickly as it came. It didn't seem to have any hostile intentions." Beerus, thinking about the situation, asks,
So what shall we do then? Does Daishoken want us to investigate something like this?
"Yes, but I think the best option is to go ahead with our main mission, to find out what the entity has surfaced. The fleeting presence may be a mere detail compared to what awaits us." So Whis and Beerus went on their way through the universe, looking for the entity Daishoken mentioned without giving so much importance to what happened on Earth. Back on Earth, the precise moment Goku rescued his son Goten, Goku, confused by what had happened to his son and the strange artifact that had impregnated in his chest, told Goten, "Let's go home immediately." As they flew on their way home, Goku tries to sense Vegeta's ki so he could teleport with him, as soon as he left his son with his mother Chi-Chi. At that moment, we see how Vegeta was already gathered by the Z Warriors, Krillin, Android 18, Piccolo, Tenshinhan, Chaos, Gohan, Future Trunks, and Master Roshi, who were talking about the strong and dark energy they had felt. Goku and Goten arrive home, and his mother, worried because they had taken a long time to return, runs to Goten and says, "Goten, son, are you alright?" To which Goten replies, "Don't worry, Mom, we're fine." Chi-Chi raises her head to Goku and notices that he's very serious. She lowers her gaze a little and notices the strange artifact he had on his chest. Chi-Chi asks him,
Goku, what's that you have there? Are you alright?
Goku immediately changes his expression with a fake smile reply.
Oh, don't worry. It's nothing important.
Chi-Chi in a very insistent way,
Goku, don't fool me. What happened? This thing I have on my chest. This very strange artifact I have on my chest. Well, it's a strange artifact, but I'm fine, really. I'm going to find out what it is and we'll get on with our lives.
Chi-Chi, worried about Goku, hugs him and says,
Promise me you'll come back, Goku.
To which Goku, with a smile, answers her yes. While he was about to make the teleportation, Goku says goodbye, saying to Goten,
Take care of your mother. I'll be right back.
He teleports. Moments before Goku arrived to meeting the Z Warriors, as they were at Bulma's house, they were talking about what they had felt a moment ago. Vegeta, with a very serious expression, asks,
Did anyone else feel that dark energy? I can't identify it, but it's disturbing.
Piccolo, frowning, replies,
Yes, I felt it. It's as if it disappeared immediately as soon as we felt it. Something's not right.
Gohan, very worried, says,
Dad, Goten are with my mother. We should look for them.
At that moment, Goku appears in front of them through teleportation and says very seriously,
Guys, I felt a strange presence. Something happened with Goten, but I rescued him.
Piccolo, analyzing everything that happened, notices something strange on Goku's body and asks him,
Goku, what's that artifact on your chest?
That's what I want to find out.
But before that,
I need to tell you something. To everyone's expectant and uncertain gaze, he says, The strange energy you felt came from this artifact in my chest.
Vegeta frowns and asks,
How's it possible? Does that device emit that energy?
Goku, somewhat worried, nods and says,
It seems so. The moment I rescued Goten, this artifact permeated my chest, and I began to feel an incredible amount of pressure coursing through every part of my body.
Piccolo, thinking about everything Goku was telling them, asks,
And how did it get in your chest?
The artifact was underwater right next to Goten, who had fainted. As soon as I was approaching it, it emitted a very sharp sound that didn't allow me to get close to Goten. Despite that, I managed to get close, and out of nowhere, it jumped in front of my chest to stay there. After everything that had happened with Goten, I tried to take it off, but when I did it again, it came back to permeate my chest. We must find out what this artifact is and why it has such a great amount of power. I'm counting on you.
Vegeta, determined, says,
Let's do it. We won't let any threat catch us off guard.
Future Trunks earnestly tells everyone,
I agree. Together, we'll figure out what's going on.
Goku thanks all his friends for the support they were giving him, but at that moment he changes his joyful expression to one of seriousness, as he remembered what had happened just before he lost consciousness. Gohan, noticing the sudden change in his father's expression, asks him,
Dad, what's wrong? Is there anything else you must tell us?
Vegeta adds,
Insect, you're not hiding anything from us, are you?
Goku remembered what had happened at that moment. With an expression of concern and anguish, he tells them about the fight he had with an unknown being, which exceeds his strength by far. And he remembers that the entity mentioned that he had colleagues that he had hoped would be alright. Piccolo, with fear but serene, says to Goku,
Are you sure of what you're saying? For what you are telling us is very dangerous. If he surpasses your strength by far, in that case we wouldn't stand a chance against him. We'd be a hindrance rather than a support, Goku.
Goku, after hearing that, tells him what he felt in the confrontation.
The moment the unknown being appeared, I felt the same amount and type of power, and the dark ki that ran through my body as the strange artifact permeated my chest.
As soon as Goku finished telling what had happened, as soon as he got out of the water, Piccolo came up with an idea. It wasn't that far-fetched, but he could explain what the strange artifact was and why he was facing the unknown being. Piccolo, observing the artifact, turns to Goku saying,
This looks familiar. It may be like a containment urn, like the ones we used at the Mafuba to seal powerful beings.
Surprised Goku,
Really, Piccolo? Do you think this could be something like that?
Krillin, looking at the artifact,
An artifact like this one, used with the Mafuba on Goku's chest? Since when did battles become so complicated? There's always something new with you Saiyans.
Master Roshi, somewhat excited, but at the same time serious, exclaimed,
Mafuba! I remember when we sealed King Piccolo with that. Do you think Goku has such a strong enemy inside?
Future Trunks, analyzing what had happened, says,
It makes sense. The Mafuba urns are powerful devices to contain evil energies. Could this artifact have sealed something?
I don't care if it's from the Mezville or anywhere else. I just want to know how to get rid of this thing once and for all. It's a possibility. The urns we use to keep very strong enemies under control, but why did it attach yourself to Goku?
I'm not sure, but what I do know is that this energy is linked to a very powerful entity.
Whatever it is, if it's linked to that artifact, we cannot underestimate it. So, what do you plan to do, Kakarot?
At that moment, the Kaio-sama of the North telepathically communicates with Goku to tell him that he had information about the powerful energy that they felt and the mysterious artifact that permeated his chest. Kaio-sama tells him to get to his planet quickly.
First, we need information. Kaio-sama has information about this artifact and the being that might be inside it. We must go to Kaio-sama so we can find out what we're dealing with.
Vegeta nods and Goku continues.
Exactly, but first, I need your help. If there are any more entities like this, the Earth could be in danger. And with this connection to the artifact, I could put them at risk. Therefore, I'll only go to Kaio-sama to get the information to get rid of this artifact.
Kakarot, don't even think that you'll do this alone. I'll go with you, Insect. I can't accept that you become stronger than me.
Goku accepts and asks him to put his hand on his shoulder. Once Goku and Vegeta left, the Z Warriors sensed unknown presences on the planet, so they split into groups and flew off at high speed to go investigate. With the reevaluation that the artifact at Goku's chest might be like a containment urn, similar to those used in Mafuba, the Z Warriors faced an increasingly complex and dangerous situation. Uncertainty about what such an artifact contains and how it is connected to the mysterious dark energy fills them with worry. While Goku and Vegeta were to where Kaio-sama and the Z Warriors went to investigate the unknown presences they had detected in space, Whis and Beerus, after having traversed much of space, felt a strong amount of dark energy, so they immediately head to where it was. As they are about to reach the source of the dark energy, the pressure in the air becomes more intense as they get closer, and the unknown entity awaits their arrival.
Why do I feel like this is going to be more complicated than we thought?
Mr. Beerus, the information we gain here could be crucial to understanding the threat we face on Earth.
The unknown entity, surrounded by a dark aura, reveals itself in front of Whis and Beerus. Its presence is overwhelming and a sinister laugh echoes in space. Unknown entity mockingly welcomes them, saying,
I expected your arrival. You took longer than I expected. Do not underestimate the gods. We're here to stop any threat that endangers our universe.
Before any confrontation, can you tell us who you are and what you're doing here?
Oh, that's funny. I'm known as Ryuk, disciple of the Devourer of Worlds. I have come to free the Master, the most powerful being who ever lived.
The expression on Whis' and Beerus' faces become much more serious upon hearing Raiku's name.
Raikou, that name rings a bell.
Raikou is an ancient threat, Lord Beerus. His master, he and the other disciples were sealed away millennia ago due to his unquenchable thirst for power and destruction.
So it looks like we have a problem. This time it won't be as easy sealing him again.
The space fills with palpable tension as Ryuk, surrounded by a dark and malevolent aura, confronts Whis and Beerus. The dark energy emanating from him seems to distort the very fabric of space around him.
Problem, you say? You are correct, little god. The Master has been patiently awaiting your release, and now with my arrival, that time has finally come.
Beerus moves into combat stance with a determined expression on his face, while Whis remains composed but alert.
I have no time for games. If your master is a threat, we'll stop you here and now.
Tell us more about your master. Understanding his motivations might help us find a peaceful solution.
Ryuk chuckles mischievously, revealing his sharp fangs, then disappears in a dark flash before reappearing behind Beerus with astonishing speed.
There's nothing they can do to stop the Master's inevitable resurgence, but before that, they could entertain me.
The battle begins. Ryuk throws a swift punch towards Beerus, but the Destroyer guy nimbly dodges and responds with an energy punch that Ryuk blocks easily. Meanwhile, Whis watches carefully, waiting for the right moment to intervene. Ryuk's speed is impressive, but Beerus manages to keep up. They exchange blows and energy blasts in a combat that seems to defy the laws of space itself. Ryuk's dark energy distorts reality around him, making its impact more dangerous and intense.
Lord Beerus, Your speed is amazing, but that dark energy is problematic. I suggest you be careful with your movements.
Beerus nods as he dodges an enemy attack and counterattacks with an energy wave. Ryuk, undeterred, vanishes and reappears in front of Whis, challenging him to enter the fight.
And you, assistant of the god, will you dare to face me?
Whis smiles serenely and disappears in a flash, only to reappear behind Ryuk.
I have no intention of fighting, but if that's what you wish.
Before Whis finishes his sentence, Ryuk turns around and launches a fierce attack towards him. Whis, with his extraordinary speed, dodges each blow with grace. Space convulsed with the fury of the cosmic confrontation between Whis, Beerus, and Ryuk. Each move shattered reality itself. As Ryuk's dark energy and the god's divine blast intertwined in a demonstration of opposing forces. Ryuk, his ominous figure shrouded in a dark aura, moved with breathtaking speed. His sinister left echoed through the emptiness of space, challenging the gods who faced him.
This guy's faster than I thought.
As Beerus' words fade away, Ryuk disappears in the blink of an eye and reappears in front of him with a punch charged with dark energy. Beerus manages to block the attack, but the force of impact sends shockwaves through space. Ryuk breaks away from Beerus with a smirk, and in a flash lunges towards Whis. His movements were fluid. Whis, on the other hand, moves gracefully, dodging each blow with the grace of a cosmic dancer.
This dark power is intriguing, but it is out of balance.
Ryuk, frustrated by Whis' evasive ability, concentrates his dark energy in his hands and launches it as a flare. Whis responds by creating an energy barrier, but the resulting collision sends shockwaves through space, shaking nearby stars. Beerus takes advantage of Ryuk's distraction and lunges at him with a punch charged with divine energy. Ryuk blocks the blow, but the resulting force causes an explosion that creates the ephemeral supernova in the cosmos. The fight continues with unmatched speed. Ryuk demonstrates his skill in anticipating the gods' moves, while Beerus and Whis unleash their divine power to counter the darkness that threatens to engulf them. In a moment of pause, Ryuk grins mischievously and his dark aura begins to intensify. A transformation was underway. The darkness concentrates around his body, forming a sort of dark cocoon that breaks, revealing a transformed figure. Now Ryuk has evolved. His previous form pales in comparison to the manifestation of his current power. His figure has become more imposing, with twisted shadows dancing around him as if they were extensions of his own essence. Sharp fangs glow with dark radiance, and his eyes emit a malevolent light.
Ha ha ha! This is just a glimpse of my true power.
Beerus and Whis exchange a worried glance. The pressure in the air becomes even more intense. Ryuk, now in his transformation form, launches himself towards the gods with outstanding speed. Beerus tries to counterattack with a sphere of divine energy, but Ryuk dodges each projectile with ease, moving through the bursts of light with supernatural agility. Meanwhile, Whis stands in reverse, watching the fight with analytical eyes. In a quick blink, Ryuk appears in front of Beerus and unleashes a series of vicious blows. The sonic sounds of punches and echoes kicked through space as the gods and devourer of worlds, discipled, plunge into a frenzy of combat. Beerus, struggling to keep up with Ryuk's speed, takes a direct punch to the stomach that sends him drifting into space. Before he can recover, however, Ryuk lunges at him and blasts him with a barrage of blows. The situation becomes even more complicated when Ryuk, in a ruthless act, concentrates dark energy in his hand and drives it through Beerus' abdomen. The Destroyer God lets out a roar of pain as darkness spreads from the point of impact. Whis, seeing the stark reality, springs into action. His figure flashes in space as he stands in front of Ryuk, blocking his attacks.
I cannot allow you to harm my lord in this way.
Whis' divine energy collides with Ryuk's darkness in a show of cosmic power. The battle intensifies and the fate of the universe hangs in the balance as the confrontation between light and darkness reaches its climax. Well guys, this is all for today's chapter. I hope you liked it and it was to your liking. Now don't forget to leave your powerful like Supreme God level, comment and subscribe. Now without further ado, see you in a new video. Until next time.
Sacred